Hi, this is Pim from Smart Diabetics Academy. Today I'm going to show you a few early warning signs of type 2 diabetes. To share 8 early warning signs with you that show whether you could have diabetes, possibly. So if you have been wondering if you have diabetes but you haven't really been bothering with it and you couldn't be asked to go to the doctor, as many of us don't, please take note of these early warning signs, and if you have any or several of them, maybe it's time for you to actually go and see your doctor. So take them with you and explain the situation to your doctor. So statistics actually tell us that nearly 25% of all adult Americans live with pre-diabetes. That is 1 in 4. That is a lot of people. And as many as a third of all type 2 diabetics don't even know that they have type 2 diabetes. That's 1 in 3. So of all the people that you know that have type 2 diabetes, there is a third that is missing that probably have diabetes as well, and they don't know it. And this is the worst case scenario, because if you don't know that you have diabetes, you're not going to try to do anything about it. You're not going to try to change your diet, you're not going to try to change your lifestyle, and the worst thing is that you're going to continue eating the way you have been eating and just making it worse. And the longer you do this, the worse your diabetes is going to get. So this is not great. So if you just have this little thought, maybe I'm in the risk zone, maybe you have a lot of relatives with type 2 diabetes, or you have been gaining weight, etc. If any of these 8 apply to you, please go and have it checked if you can, if you think that that might be the reason. So here are the things to look out for. Number 1, this is quite obvious, but if you have higher blood sugar than what is normal, you could absolutely have type 2 diabetes. So if your fasting blood glucose is above 90 to 100 milligrams per deciliter, you might have diabetes or pre-diabetes. And if your fasting blood sugar is normal, you could still actually have pre-diabetes or diabetes. It's just that you're in the early stages yet. So what you can do is that you test your blood sugar after you have eaten, so 2 hours after a meal, to see if it's still elevated from your baseline, which is where it was before you started eating. And if it's still elevated, test it again after 3 hours to see what is happening. And if it is elevated, you need to go and see a doctor straight away to actually get a diagnosis and see what's going on, and more importantly, go and do something about it. Change your eating habits. Eat a diet that doesn't increase your blood sugar so much, and you might actually be able to do something about it yourself, but I would still recommend that you do go and see a doctor. Number 2, if you're always feeling tired or exhausted, for some people it might be due to a stressful event or sleep problems or chronic stress, you just feel exhausted for those reasons, and that could be why. And if you're never sleeping well, that could absolutely be why. But if you, even after a good night's sleep, you still feel really tired all the time, it might be that you're very insulin resistant. And when you're insulin resistant, your body cells struggle to get the energy that they need, so you are going to be very tired. So this is a big warning sign, and especially if you feel tired after you have eaten, because that's when you're getting a massive insulin dose, which will try to lower your blood sugar, etc. So it's just a mix of all the combinations. So if you're feeling tired and exhausted, and that is something new, then you might want to go and have it looked up. Number 3, slow wound healing. So I was looking if I had any wounds on my hands, but I don't. If you've noticed that just normal little cuts and little wounds, nothing big, but even the small ones, they don't heal as quickly as they used to, that is a warning sign, because this is something that is really common in diabetics and pre-diabetics as well. So if that's the case, if you just notice that strange, it doesn't heal up the way it used to, you might be diabetic. Number 4, if you're feeling hangry, that is hungry, angry, you're having mood swings, maybe you feel depressed a lot of the time, or chronically depressed. That's kind of quite common in diabetics as well. And especially if this is something that is new. If you haven't felt like this throughout your previous life, if you like, if it's new to you and you're just wondering what the hell happened, why do I feel so blue all the time? It might be that you're actually having some insulin resistance going on there. So go and have that checked. Number 5, if you suddenly experience problems with your vision, so that could be something like just a bit of a blurry sight, reduced vision, something like that, just something that comes on very suddenly, just go and see your doctor, have your eyes checked out. This may not be linked to normal aging, which is very gradual and very stable, so you're just going to have that checked out, because the last thing you want to do is be undiagnosed with diabetes, have this go on for years, and eventually lose your vision or most of it because you didn't go and get checked. So number 6, weight gain without any apparent change in your diet could also be insulin resistant. So most people are very habitual, so if you have been eating the same thing for years and years, you've been doing the same kind of exercise, and all of a sudden you start gaining a lot of weight and you can't get it off, even if you're exercising, that's a huge warning sign of insulin resistance. So it's not necessarily hormonal the way that we think about hormonal when we women reach 40 or so. It's always harder to lose weight, but a lot of that is actually due to insulin resistance as well. So I'm not saying that every woman over 40 is insulin resistant, but remember that 25% of adult Americans are insulin resistant and they don't even know it. So that could be you as well. Number 7, frequent urination. So this is a very common sign that you have high blood sugar. So that's you can easily check that. But when the concentration of sugar in your blood is very high and you can't reduce it, your body will want you to drink more, so you will be thirsty, and then you will have to weed out again, and that way you can get rid of some sugar. That's more often connected to type 1 diabetes, because that's more of a sudden onset. All of a sudden the blood sugar is going up, whereas type 2 diabetics can actually use the carbs to some degree, so it's not as common. But if that is happening, go and get it checked. Or just get your own glucometer. It's really easy and it's not that expensive. Number 8, digestion issues. So that could be things like stomach aches, indigestion, heartburn at night, bloating, diarrhea or constipation. All of these can be signs of pre-diabetes or diabetes. So especially if these occur without any prior change in your dietary habits as well. So if you haven't had any problems with your guts, you're eating the same foods, you're not doing anything, you haven't been sick, and all of a sudden all of these things are starting to happen, yes, there could be something like SIBO, a problem with your bacterial flora. It could be maybe a parasite, it's not as common, but it could be, etc. But it can also be diabetes. So keep that in mind. I hope you took notes of those 8, and if you have any of these or several of these and you can't explain why they're happening all of a sudden, please do go and get tested as soon as possible and get started on an appropriate diet, because this is what I would urge anyone to do anyway. So if you have pre-diabetes, if you have type 2 diabetes, it's really important that you start cutting out the carbs as much as possible. And I'm talking about all the carbs, even the natural sugars that are found in fruits and vegetables. It is too much. When you have diabetes, you need to get that down. If you're not diabetic, you can get away with an amount, but I would still recommend that you cut it down from where you are if you're eating a standard American diet, and cut down on the processed foods as well. And if you need help with your diet, you can just contact me or request to join the Smart Diabetics Facebook group. You will find the links and all the details for how to do that down in the description. And if you found this video useful, please do give it a thumbs up and press that little subscribe button down there and the little bell, because if you press the bell you will get notified when I'm uploading a new video. And I'm uploading videos at least 3 times per week on how you can reverse your diabetes and improve your diet. So I will see you again in the next video.